Hey Limitless Nation, today you are in for a real treat. You get to learn directly from Jeff Nemeth. Jeff Nemeth left corporate America to pursue his own destiny as a personal trainer. After teaching people how to change their outside appearance, Jeff realized that he was the talent. As a result, Jeff decided to go and show and share and give more value to his clients by creating the IOTA project. This project is one that is dedicated to understanding 90-second habits that can change your day and consequently your life. In today's mastermind class, you get to learn directly from the one and only Jeff Nemeth. Let's dive in.
Well, before you dive into today's masterclass session, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. It allows you to receive notification bell every single time we have uploaded a new video and showing you how to live a limitless life. Now, if you want to dig deeper on what you need to do to hunt your future, make sure you watch the interview that I've done with Donna Vaughn at huntyourfuture.com. It will show you how you can hunt your future on every aspect of your being. Plus, you're going to receive tips and secrets on what you need to do to tackle your days on a regular basis. Now, let's dive into today's masterclass sessions.
Welcome, Jeff Nemeth.
Thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Can you share with the Limitless viewers anything about yourself that we did not cover in the bio?
Yeah, I'll give you the quick 90-second version of sort of the rest of me. I started off as an entrepreneur at age 8 or 9, selling lemonade and Kool-Aid with my brother to construction workers down at the end of our block. They were building an office building, and in one way or another, from cutting grass to shoveling snow, all the way into high school years, I had jobs, but I always had my toe in the entrepreneurial pond until I think it was probably I was age 23 or 24 when I'd started doing personal training on the side because I had this idea that there was something in the fitness industry that was going to get big, and this was in 2001. And in 2002, I worked a regular job and did my PT stuff on the side for about 2 months, and then I jumped all in and just quit my job and went as a full-time PT. And there was only a couple in the Metro Detroit area at that time, so I did that up until 2016, 2017, when I started moving more into the performance mindset, sort of human growth acceleration phase. Not really a great way to say it, but that's where I am now.
Awesome. Now, here at Limitless Nation, we have a tradition of starting each interview with a limitless quote. Do you have such a quote that you have applied in your life?
The one that I love quotes. Yeah, I share them on my Facebook wall just when I get stuff, and sometimes it's just to remind me, so I know that a year later when I go through those memories. One that stuck with me since I saw the movie, I went and read the book, is from Fight Club, and this is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time. And that one was like a smack in the face to me. Wow, that is so true. I've even got a countdown timer on my phone, and that's my screensaver. That is how many days I have left to live, by approximation. So that keeps me focused and knowing that my days here are numbered. So make the most out.
Wow, that's unique. I don't think I have that on my phone. The days I have left. Definitely a different way of looking at it. But
yeah, for me, it's inspiring. For some people, think it's very dark, and some people see it and they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "That's how many days I have left." And I can put on there how many weekends or how many meals or how many vacations, and to me, it's like that's a very freeing thought that everything we have is just on loan, and we're only here for a short time. So each moment is precious. So that opportunity to speak with someone like you and all your viewers was yeah, absolutely, that's totally worth it. I'd love to chat. That's something that lights me up and is exciting, and that's one of those 10s out of 10s in my day that I want to go for, and that helps me decide how I do and spend my time.
Right, because when you realize, yes, as you said, we're only here for a short amount of time, it makes you value that time more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be 43 in a couple months, so statistically speaking, I'm past the halfway point of my life. Now, more than likely, with the advances in medical science and the fact that I take reasonably good care out of myself, I don't have a family history of any sort of diseases. With some luck, I'm probably around the halfway point. I'd like to think I'm going to get into my 90s like my grandmother was 95, but you never know. It could be, I could get hit by a bus when I walk out of here today. So appreciation and living where your feet are is an important thing.
Right. I definitely agree. And speaking of appreciation, what are some of the struggles that you've had to overcome or failures that you might have gone through that you, looking back now, can appreciate more?
I think one of them would be every sort of shift I've made professionally, business-wise, has been at least in some part around a failure also. I've had jobs that I did that essentially were at a point where I just ran to my limit. Company is moving in a different direction. I was in the newspaper business. My last full-time corporate job was in the newspaper business. And it was in the early 2000s when you could see the writing on the wall that everything was moving to online. And they were downsizing left and right. And essentially it was like, well, if you want a promotion, if you want to move on, you've got to move markets. You have to do this, you have to do that. And at that point, I was like, I love working for myself. I love, not that I don't have a boss. I'm trading one boss for like 30 some bosses. Every client becomes a boss at that point. But, I left. And it wasn't like I left because I'd gotten promoted to CEO or anything. I was on a fast track. It was like I kind of left and was like, this is like running out of time for me. When I left my PT studio, that was a situation where, again, I had reached a point in my life where I was so overwhelmed with everything that was going on, my business started to fail. And it was because I wasn't, when I was at work, I was constantly thinking about what was going on at home. When I was at home, I'm thinking about leads. I'm thinking about cash flow. Thinking about conversions. I'm thinking about, are my clients being taken care of? I'm supposed to be playing with my kids. So I started to get overwhelmed with everything. So I think that every sort of level that I've had to grow up or grow to a different level in my life has been something that's been a challenge I've had to overcome. And at the end, when you come out and can turn around and get perspective on that, you realize how much you learn and grow from that. But at the time, man, sometimes it really sucks. When you're in it, it doesn't feel great.
I agree. When you're going through the mud and difficulty, it's hard to see how it's going to play out in the end. But once you pass that finish line, that goal, or even a year later, you can see how much you have improved.
Yeah, like it's shaped. You've shaped it. It's shaped you. You have perspective on it. It's like lifting weights. You get a callus on your hand, and the bar doesn't always feel good when it's in your hand and that skin is being pressed together. But at the end of the day, there's a callus and there's a little more protection. You're a little bit tougher. And that's kind of what some of the work I do is building those emotional calluses for people and those mental calluses so that they know when they wake up, hey, whatever's going to happen in my day today, I've got a toolkit and I know how to use it and I'm prepared to use it. So whatever's going to happen, I'm going to be able to survive. I'm going to thrive through all of this, and that's like a very comforting, that's really sort of a very strong place to live from and a calm and peaceful.
I agree. So whatever you're doing is you're developing, building that foundation of your mindset and then going up from there, because lifting weights, not everyone's really happy about it. I know for me, when I lift weights, it's not always enjoyable. I start here and then I end up here at the end of my workout session because I'm much happier, even though it is still a challenge.
Yeah, it's always a challenge. And the good stuff, I was talking about with my friend Seth today, and this other quote came up to me, and I think it was Thomas Paine, and he said, that which we achieve too lightly, we esteem, that which we achieve too easily, we esteem too lightly. Essentially, whatever comes easy to us, we don't really appreciate. So it's really only, the mud and the darkness and those struggles that we really learn and grow from. And so even when you're going through that, understanding that perspective is going to make you better and stronger is in having some appreciation for it is a place of really strength. And, even when you're in the thick of it, going through it, like, man, this is massive. I'm dealing with a lot, but there's a lot of lessons also. That's a place of emotional and mental strength.
I agree. So in this journey and process of just developing your mind and in your business and in your life, you've had to go from difficult situation and then you made it better. What was like the aha moment that you just decided to go on your own and create your own destiny?
I've done it a couple times, but I think each time I've done it, I've been more conscious about it. When I decided to become a personal trainer full time, I looked at it like I can make my own schedule. I know I could see that like I can make exactly as much money as I'm making here at the newspaper. And I love that job. The paper, I worked with great people. It was cool to be in the middle of the city, in the media environment, but I could also see how limited that was. And each time I've done that, it's been, okay, I'm making a shift. And then I've kind of looked back and said, oh, well, that was a little bit deeper. The last time it was like, look, I don't want to make any more shifts that are kind of like being forced on me. Why is it that I can't just get a job like other people or get a career or do something and be happy for doing it for 30 years like so many people? And the big aha moment for me was like, I didn't know. I had no idea I couldn't answer any of those questions. And that was partially just because I didn't know who I was. My sense of self was very shifty and very based on situations. So for me, it was like, hey, I'm the constant here. I'm the one thing that is constant through all of these episodes in my life. I'm fully responsible for all of this, the good, the bad, the ugly, the shiny, the not so shiny. So I really said, all right, what I'm doing now is I'm digging in deep, figuring out who I am. I'm constructing this foundation. So whatever I do from here is built on rock, not on sand. So the one thing I remember in my head, the meditation came up, and it was just like I heard hearing this voice saying, no one's coming for you. And it wasn't like you're all alone, you're going to live this horrible life. It was no one is coming for you. And it was sort of a freeing way that was like, okay, so I get to create this. I get the responsibility. I get to do all of these things. And now it's just a matter of doing the work and finding out, putting into action. So I think that was like a pivoting moment for me where it was like, no one's going to come and lift you up and sort of save you. It's up to you, and I felt like, okay, if it's up to me, then I can do it. I'm not waiting for anybody. I really have enough in me to do this. So I felt great about it, and that was a real turning point.
I agree. You are in charge of your own destiny, and I think it's liberating and freeing when people understand that they can take their destiny into their own hands. Now, as they do take their own destiny into their own hands and move forward, I'm sure there still is a little bit of networking and working with other people and finding mentors, right?
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that you're going to go do everything yourself and no one else exists, and you're going to learn how to do everything. You're going to code your website, and you're going to learn how to do your books and all of that. It's the exact opposite. Knowing that you're completely in control also means that you know when to reach out and grab partners. You learn about your strengths and your weaknesses. I mean, for me, I can jump on a stage in front of 200 people, give me a topic in 20 minutes and I'll put together an hour. And I'm totally comfortable doing that. That excites me. Now, if you said, hey, I need you to work on a spreadsheet for 4 hours, here's a computer. I mean, that sounds to me like that's like someone's putting 100 pounds of cement bricks on my chest. Like, just don't make me do that. So learning that stuff is also part of the process, and knowing that all right, the networking, the outreach, the messaging, the sales, the connection, just talk about human connection, that's right in my wheelhouse. I'm good at that. Now, the back end stuff of the business, I know how to create systems. I'm pretty good at it. It's not my strength. But then if I'm talking about hard numbers, analysis, data flow, all that stuff, that's something that I do until I have the ability to hire someone who's really good at it, and that's my wheelhouse. So
I agree. So in talking with people and you finding people to talk with and communicate, I'm sure that you've obviously helped a lot of people through fitness and through personal development and through helping them live a more limitless life. What have been some words of wisdom that you've received on your journey that you can share with the Limitless Nation?
Hope you enjoyed the masterclass session so far. Before we get into the second half of the session itself, it is very crucial for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, as I really don't want you to miss out on another masterclass where I'm going to share with you what other expert celebrities, Fortune 5000 companies do to become successful and live a limitless life. So make sure you subscribe right now, and every single time we upload a new video, you will receive a notification bell. This allows you to enjoy the masterclass on the regular basis. So make sure you subscribe right now. Well, as you are ready, let's get into the second half of the masterclass session.
I think one of them, and part of the start of this journey, was when I stepped back and I looked at all my personal training clients, so for 14, 15 years, and it was like this 50%. And I had 50% that would come in, they'd see me for 8 to 12 weeks, we'd hit their goal, they'd leave, and then they'd be back in 6 months or 12 months, and they'd be right back where they were. And there was another half of them that just made progress, they got their results, and then they stayed there. And I was trying to analyze what the difference was. And I got a video testimonial from a guy who's still a friend of mine. He said, as I'm recording the phone, he said, Jeff, through his work, helped me understand that I was not only getting a better body, but I was becoming a better person. He helped me realize I really liked myself. And I was sitting there and I started to tear up when I was getting this. And that hit me like a lightning bolt. I was like, this is the difference. That people already have this support structure built in, or they don't. And then it was like these downloads kind of just flashed me over the next day or two. It was like, I've been working on people's bodies for so long, and I got into the business because I love working with people. And I really thought, if I can help somebody lose that last 30 pounds, they're going to be free to live whatever life they wanted. And it just started to occur to me that now that their physical body is a symptom of what's going on inside. I've been working from the outside in for so long. Now it's time for me to move a couple inches away and start working inside out. And it was and I literally started to have people coming in and they were like, yeah, I just need to lose this 40 pounds and then I'm going to be happy. And I remember telling one woman, I said, you're actually not. I said, I don't mean to be rude. I just want to be very upfront with you. I said, you're going to need a new wardrobe. You're going to look much better and everyone's going to tell you how happy they think you are now. And you're going to feel exactly the same right now. I'm like, I've seen it too far over. There's other work that needs to be done. And that's kind of when I got into this and I started thinking like, I can't take people's money. If they think that I'm going to make them happy by losing this weight or getting in shape or fitting into this dress or whatever, that's a very temporary thing that I can't do. And someone said to me, you're realizing what you were put on this earth for. Now you have to live in integrity with that. And that was part of me figuring out like, okay, now what does that look like? And understanding that like, first and foremost, we have to live in integrity with ourselves each day. And that was a big thing for me. Like, okay, now no longer can I sell a program to somebody if I know better, if it's not the right result for them. Somebody else may be able to do that, but I've reached a point in my life where I can no longer.
Okay. So in your life, what are some personal habits that you have developed over your journey that help you maintain the standard that you're currently living?
Well, I think that one of the biggest things that changed sort of everything in my life for me was establishing a routine in the morning. I started off with reading Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning book, which I thought was great. And it's a very in-depth sort of process, the way he sets things up. I have 3 kids. I've got a family. I've got a wife. She works. So like, I don't always have an hour in the morning, especially when I started doing this as a trainer, sometimes I'd be at work at 5:30 in the morning, which meant I was up at 4:30, which meant like, no, that I was not going to have an hour just for myself in the morning. So that's where I established this idea of let me test out doing these things for 5 minutes. Let me meditate for 5 minutes. Let me journal for 5 minutes. Let me look at my schedule for 5 minutes. And then I thought, what if I cut this down to 90 seconds? What is that? And what it did was it got me to like 60-70% of what the 30 or 40 minutes was doing. And I thought that is a huge step for people. That is like, so if I get down and if I'm like, look, and I just want you to sit there with your eyes closed and total silence for 90 seconds, not a second more. People will do that. If I tell them to do it for 10 minutes, after 90 seconds, their mind is spinning and they freak out and they hate it and they never do it again. But 90 seconds gets a result and it almost seems like, it's like, oh, I'm getting some result from this. I see a difference. It's stupid not to continue for 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes. So those routines were really key to me. And even starting to do stuff at night and learning that like, yeah, you can get a good result very quickly if you're focused with it. It doesn't have to look like I need an hour to myself in the morning and I need 2 hours for this. In 20 minutes, 15 minutes, you can get your day off to a much different start where you're controlling what happens inside and outside of you for the entire day. And that's a really big part of it, is just controlling your focus and attention.
So where can people on the Limitless Nation and listeners go to learn more about this 90-second system?
Probably, I talk about it daily in parts of it on Facebook and on Instagram. So it's just Jeff Nemeth at Facebook and Instagram. That's a great place to connect with me. Building out a website right now that is not finished yet. So we'll have that in the works probably within the next week or 2. That's something that I'm still working on, but you'll be able to always connect with me on social. That's where I tend to just talk about a lot of stuff because it's my personal life and my professional life at this point are kind of one and the same. So, I kind of just share everything there, what I'm doing professionally as well as business. I'm on LinkedIn also, and that's Jeff Nemeth, the same.
Okay. Do you have an idea of what your domain name is going to be?
It's actually going to be Thrive. This is what the business I'm working on with my partner Seth, and it's THYRVE. So Thrive, just like you would normally, instead of the I, we have a Y in there. So it's thriveu.com. So be thriveuniversity.com. So the process will be just like Seth and I have both done in our lives, and we've coached people to do. We'll be taking some from that survival mode to the striving mode to the thriving mode. Those are really the 3 steps of the journey. And, we get you through each one. And that's sort of what I do right now. And that'll be it. So that's the domain. And we'll be able to see everybody there very shortly.
Sounds exciting. Sounds like you got a lot going on your plate right now.
And I love that.
That's a good way to be, because if you're not moving forward, you're not moving forward, you're falling behind.
Yeah, there's no neutral. It doesn't happen in nature, and it doesn't happen with humans in life. Like if you're not moving forward, even at a slow pace, even like maybe today is just 1 step forward. If you're not moving forward, you're going backwards. You're absolutely right.
Now, do you have a book that you'd like to recommend to the Limitless Nation?
Yeah, one that I put up this up on my Facebook wall. I got this a couple months ago, and I've read it twice so far, and I've marked it up and taken so many notes in it. It's called The Courage to be Disliked. You can get it on Amazon. Amazon, and it's written by a guy named Kashimi Imuro, I think is his name. He's a Japanese author. It's essentially about a way of seeing the world that's sort of like the Toltec, sort of like the Stoic way, but it's sort of a conversation based around Eldurian philosophy. It's just how that if you change the story that you tell about things that happen, you change the actual feeling and the event itself, and that's the easiest, fastest way to propel yourself forward. So if you've had a difficult event in your past, if you change the story, like we talked about earlier, from this thing that really happened to me, really hurt me, and it was really painful, to I learned a lot of lessons from that because of what I went through. These are lessons I learned, and all of a sudden you've just shifted that thing. That's part of being, what your tribe is all about. Being limitless is taking these things that have happened and literally just writing them out, or just looking at a different way to view them. You can grow exponentially at that point from these things.
I totally agree. And in your journey to grow exponentially, if you were to start all over again, perhaps from the most difficult spot, would you have done anything different to get to where you are now faster?
No, I wouldn't, because I don't know if I would have the knowledge and the experiences to get me here. And I sit here today with sort of a radical awareness about how my life is running and what I understand and what I have in my life. And I think back on that. I used to think back on it a lot. Say, I would have loved to have done this, or I should have done that. Now I'm like, no, I'm here for a reason. Any shifts that I could have made, things I could have done differently, who knows who I would have met or not met along the way. And all those experiences have been too valuable to me to try to miss them or get out of them, or to miss some of the pain because of the lessons I learned from them.
I agree, because everyone is on their own journey, and for the most part, people should learn to look back on their life and be grateful for the opportunities that they've had.
Yeah, and I mean that doesn't mean that we take away any of the experiences or the difficulties or the pain, or pretend they were. You go through a bad time, you lose a parent, a spouse, a sibling, or a child. I mean, those are really difficult experiences that people go through, but that doesn't mean those have to define our lives. Like, we could turn those experiences and reshape our life based on whatever we see that comes out of them, rather than letting them define us. And so that's not to deny any painful experiences that people have had, and people go through them every day. It's easy for me to sit here in this Western world and talk about this stuff, and I understand that people go through some painful things, but I think that how we look at them and how we shape those really can define us, and we can either allow them to define us, or we can define them. And those are, like you just said a minute ago, either the way to go forward or the way to go back.
Exactly. And you are absolutely correct that people do go through traumatic events. Back in 2010, I was in a near fatal car crash. So I understand totally with your concept. You have a countdown of only so many days left. I also understand that you may not know when your last day is, and you only have so many tomorrows.
Yeah, and you probably have lived your life differently from that point because of what you experienced and what you learned.
Totally. I mean, going through that experience, I still get goosebumps thinking about it, but I was 14 at the time. My health wasn't good. My mental attitude wasn't good. I wasn't being very positive. Yeah, I was just in a bad state. But once I got through that situation, I realized that I want to actually be grateful for each day and treat it as if it's my last. I turned my health around. I turned my mental attitude around. I decided to have a lot more positive people around my life. And my level of happiness soared. Just went through the roof. Everything changed for me. I exercise daily now. It's amazing how one thing can change your life. Now, other people, they could go through the same thing and become depressed and even worse. It all depends on how you want to choose to look at it.
Yeah, that's an awesome story. That's an amazing story. And, you don't want to go through that. Like, no one wants to go through that, nor do you want other people to have to go through that to learn what you've learned. And I know that's part of why you do what you do and talk about what you do and what you went through, so people can take the lessons without having that painful, traumatic experience. That's part of why I think we all have a duty as humans to share openly what we've been through, so that everybody can learn from stuff and take the lessons of gratitude and appreciation and sort of presence that you've learned without having to have something like that happen to them.
Absolutely. I totally agree. So tell us again how we can get in touch with you and learn more and hear more about your story and what you have going on.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Jeff Nemeth, real simple there, and then thriveyou with a y.com. That'll be up and running shortly here, probably by the time this is published, and we'll be doing updates on what we're doing in terms of company and programs and structures for people to take themselves to get to that thriving stage in all areas of their life.
For those of you listening on podcast, it's spelled Jeff Nemeth, Nemeth.
Yes, sir. Yep, I should have done that, but yeah.
It's fine. Well, Jeff, thank you very much for your time. I certainly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. Great chat. I appreciate it.
Well, I don't know about you, but I know that I am certainly have been inspired, and I'm sure that our Limitless viewers and listeners have been inspired by your story. It has been an honor, and I am very grateful to have heard your story. Until next time, this is Donovan saying stay limitless.
Well, that's a wrap. Please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the word subscribe. And if you want to go deeper on learning on what you need to do to hunt your future, make sure you watch the interview that I've done with Donovan on what you need to do to hunt your future on every aspect of your being. This allows you to live a limitless life on every aspect of your life starting from today's forward. Plus, you are going to receive tips and tricks on what you need to do to tackle your day, tackle your challenges on every situation, every single time. So go ahead and download it right now, and until then, stay limitless forever.